When we at last definitely come into our kingdom by the aid of coup d'etat, prepared everywhere for one and the same day, after the worthlessness of all existing forms of government has been definitely acknowledged, and not a little time will pass before that comes about, perhaps even a whole century, we shall make it our task to see that against us such things as plots shall no longer exist. With this purpose, we shall slay without mercy all who take arms in hand to oppose our coming into our kingdom. Every kind of new institution of anything like a secret society will also be punished with death. Those of them which are now in existence are known to us, serve us, and have served us. We shall disband and send into exile to continents far removed from Europe. In this way we shall proceed with those chattel masons who know too much. Such of these as we may for some reason spare will be kept in constant fear of exile. We shall promulgate a law making all former members of secret societies liable to exile from Europe as the center of our rule. Resolutions of our government will be final without appeal. When we come into our kingdom, our orators will expound great problems which have turned humanity upside down in order to bring it at the end under our beneficent rule. Who will ever suspect then that all these people were stage managed by us according to a political plan which no one has guessed so much at in the course of many centuries? Even they admit that they have stage managed everything. And this is a copy of their map, how they plan to divide everything into 10 sections. Notice how, of course, North America is no longer, autonomous. I mean, we have Canada there and some of the Virgin Islands with it. We have Africa, South America, Asia. But if you notice, they already have it all subdivided. They refer to these as 10 kingdoms. Now, isn't that what the scriptures refer to it? Verse 1 states, "And I stood upon the sand of the sea and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his heads the name of blasphemy." A 10-kingdom world. That's what their writing states, and that's exactly what the Bible agrees on. Throughout all Europe, and by means of relations with Europe and other continents also, we must create ferments, discords, and hostility. Therein we gain a double advantage. In the first place, we keep in check all countries, for they well know that we have the power, whenever we like, to create disorder or to restore order. All these countries are accustomed to see in us an indispensable force of coercion. In the second place, by our intrigues, we shall tangle up all the threads which we have stretched into the cabinets of all states by means of the political, by economic treaties or loan obligations. In order to succeed in this, we must use great cunning and penetration during negotiations and agreements. But as regards what is called the official language, we shall keep to the opposite tactics and assume the mask of honesty and compliancy. In this way, the peoples and governments of the chattel, whom we have taught to look only at the outside, whatever we present to that notice, will still continue to accept us as the benefactors and saviors of the human race. We must be in a position to respond to every act of opposition by war with the neighbors of that country which dares to oppose us. But if these neighbors should also venture to stand collectively together against us, then we must offer resistance by a universal war. I forgot to flip this one, didn't I? In a word, to sum up our system of keeping the governments of the chattel in Europe in check, we shall show our strength to one of them by terrorist attempts, and to all, if we allow the possibility of a general rising against us, we shall respond with the guns of America or China or Japan. Verse 2 says, "And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet were as the feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion. And the dragon gave him his power and his seat and great authority." Power, a seat, and great authority. Isn't this what we just found out about this particular individual? I always like this one. Our government will have the appearance of a patriarchal paternal guardianship on the part of our ruler. He's going to be a daddy. Oh, what a wonderful, caring person. Our own nation and our subjects will discern in his person a father, caring for their every need, their every act, their every interrelations as subjects one with another, as well as their relations to the ruler. They will then be so thoroughly imbued with the thought that it is impossible for them to dispense with this worship and guidance if they wish to live in peace and quiet, that they will acknowledge the autocracy of our ruler with a devotion bordering on apotheosis, which from the Greek means a godlike person. He will appear to be godlike. Especially when they are convinced that those whom we set up do not put their own in place of his authority, but only blindly execute his dictates. They will be rejoiced that we have regulated everything in their lives as is done by wise parents who desire to train their children in the cause of duty and submission. They're doing this all for you, just like loving parents. Just makes you feel warm and fuzzy all over, doesn't it? "And I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed, and all the world wondered after the beast." All the world is going to wonder after the beast, there was no doubt of it. Their own writings even state it. What is this wound that is going to almost kill this thing? Whether or not it's going to be the Antichrist, the person himself, or if it's going to be a nation, we don't know. This is one of those theological gray hair splitting things where we could go on till the crack of doom. You know, I'll be honest, I just don't know what's going to happen at this part. All we know is that something is going to happen, that either the Antichrist himself could be physically killed, or one of the nations that's represented by the heads may be facing nuclear annihilation. But if any of you have a guess, you can let me know afterwards. For us, there are no checks to limit the range of our activity. Our supergovernment subsists in extra-legal conditions which are described in the accepted terminology by the energetic and forcible word dictatorship. Well, I think that just about says it all for that one. "And they worship the dragon which gave power unto the beast. And they worship the beast, saying, Who is like unto the beast? Who is able to make war with him?